Welcome to Panels and Borders. I'm Dominic. There's a phrase that I heard years and years ago that has always stuck with me. I was watching a show and it was about a guy talking about how he got out of his heroin addiction. And he was talking about why heroin was so addictive. And I think it was heroin. I'm not 100% sure, but one of those drugs. And he said that the thing about heroin was the first time you get high on heroin, it is the best high you will ever have. But that only happens the first time. It's never like that again after. And so heroin addicts are always trying to get back to that first high. So they keep taking heroin, trying to recreate that first high, he said. And there's a phrase for that called chasing the dragon. And that's what I feel like is happening with some of the franchises that are on the go now, like the older ones. And Terminator is one of them. So when I was growing up, one of my favorite action movies was The Terminator. It was dark, it was gritty, it was scary. And I rewatched it like countless times. And that was all that there was for a few years. Till Terminator 2 came out. And I remember being so juiced for that movie. I could not wait to see it. I even remember buying the movie magazine. They came out with the official magazine for the film, running up to the local bookstore, buying that, and just poring over it forever. There's no internet back then, so that's the only way you could get information on the movies was through movie magazines. And finally got to see it, and it just blew me away. That movie. I loved that movie. Like, it was one of the most memorable movie experiences I've had, was going to see Terminator 2. And then a few years came out, and Terminator 3 came out. Some time had passed. I was a bit older, and then, I rewatched Terminator 2 countless times since then. And I was excited for a third Terminator film. And but didn't really know what to expect. And went to see it again, and it just wasn't the same. There's something wasn't right. It lost something. I don't know what it was upon my first viewing, but it was nowhere near the caliber of the first two. And I thought I was alone in that when I first seen that movie, but now that I've talked to other people, I'm not alone in that. And then Terminator Salvation came out, and I was curious to see what that one was going to be about. And I was curious. I wanted to see it because it involved the future war, and I always thought that's the direction they should have went, was showing the war in the future. But then I saw the trailer, and it just didn't look like I wanted it to look like how it looked in the first two Terminator films. Like in those first two Terminator films, they did such a great job of making that future look like nightmarish, scary, like a place that you would never want to live in, and just a place where survival was hard, life was hard, and it was miserable. Like the misery of that time period and the way that people were suffering, they really nailed it with those scenes from the first Terminator movie, and then the scenes from the second Terminator movie, but more so from that first Terminator movie. So I was expecting that, 2 hours of that. And then Terminator Salvation comes out, and everything's bright and lit up, and it's in the daytime, and it's just doesn't look like it, and there's it lost something. And then the story sucked. So I didn't really care for that movie. And then Terminator Genesis came out, and less said about that, the better. I just thought that was garbage. And then now we've got Terminator Dark Fate. And for a lot of years, there was always talks that once the Terminator license had expired past a certain point, James Cameron's going to get it back and make a proper Terminator movie. And so that's what I was always hoping for. And so I was always hoping for that recreation of the time I had when I went to see Terminator 2. So ever since Terminator 2, I've been chasing the dragon with this franchise. And so, but now that everything has come out about Terminator, the next Terminator movie, which will be out in November, Terminator Dark Fate, all the trailers I've watched, And see, I was gonna do a trailer reaction video, but I just didn't have it in me to do it. Because when I watched the second trailer, it just pretty much was just an extension of the first one. There was nothing there that got me excited. I just didn't get excited at all. It just seemed like very generic, like just doing again another Terminator. So the last of my hopes of a really good Terminator movie, like Terminator 2, are gone. Now that I don't think this is going to be it. So I have been chasing the dragon. So I just have to let the dragon go. I'm not going to catch it. So what I wanted to talk about in this video actually is what you can realistically expect. I was thinking about this today. What can you realistically expect from this movie? From Terminator Dark Fate. So I got a few things in my head. Now this is all just my opinion. There's some good things you can expect, and I think some bad things you can expect. So I think right off the bat, I was thinking about it. One thing that I think will be good in this movie is it'll have good action. Like Tim Miller is a good action director, and I think it's going to have good action scenes and good action sequences. Just putting story aside for the moment. So I think that is going to be a good thing in this movie. That's what I think. If I went going to see this movie, well, at least I can enjoy the action parts of it. Almost like a kung fu movie. I used to be in martial arts, and there was an old joke. They never ever watched kung fu movie. Kung fu movies were like porn. You never ever watched them for the storylines. You just watched them for the fights. Same might apply here. So you can expect good action. I think that's one thing you could expect. But the other thing is poor or lackluster story. I don't think the story is going to be very solid for this one. Because I just read an article before I made this video. James Cameron never visited the set once during the making of this movie. And he helped write the film. And in the article, he said while he's working on Avatar, he would write pages of script for scenes that they would be shooting the next day and just send them over to them. And they would shoot that page the next day. So I don't know, it seems like a pretty sketchy way, I guess, to make a movie. I don't know how that's going to turn out. So my faith in the story being good, I don't have very much faith in it. I kind of picked up on that from the trailer. It just didn't seem like a good story. That didn't really sell me on it. The other thing I think this movie is going to have going against it, I think it's going to have a weak antagonist. The Terminator that comes back in time to try to kill them, the guy that splits into two, he's like another liquid metal guy. He just doesn't seem menacing. Like the actor they got him playing it, he just doesn't look like a menacing person to be a Terminator. I guess realistically he'd make a perfect infiltration unit, but and then in all the scenes in the trailer, he's getting his behind kicked. Like the girl chops him up with a chain, and Linda Hamilton blows him apart and blows him off a bridge, and Arnold shoots his face up, and like it's just he's just getting beat repeatedly in the trailer. So like doesn't seem like I don't think he's going to be a strong villain for the film. Now, one of the things that I think this movie does have going for it, that is going for this film, is it's going to be R-rated. I think that's a plus for the movie, because a lot of the last Terminator movies weren't R-rated, which I just thought was stupid. Like a Terminator movie, in my opinion, or certain movies, it got to be R-rated. It's like Alien. It's like making an Alien movie and have it G, not R-rated. It's dumb. Or like that RoboCop remake that they made, it wasn't R-rated. That was like stupid. I think that's a plus. It's going to be R-rated, so you can have more blood, more gore, more violence. One of the other things I think this movie has going against it is new characters you don't care about. I don't know how people don't seem to be really taking to the new characters from what I've seen and read. They just don't seem interesting. People are more interested in the characters that are coming back. So I know I might be wrong. Obviously, these are just predictions. I haven't seen the movie yet, but that's what just the vibe I'm getting. It's like characters that no one cares about, that they're going to try to pass the torch on to, characters no one cares about. And the other thing, the one thing that's going for it is the return of Linda Hamilton and Arnold. So you get to see Arnold in action again, and you get to see Linda Hamilton come back in a Terminator movie, which I think that was kind of like sorely missing from some of the other ones, that her presence wasn't there. So she's back, which is good. And but also I think one of the things that's bad about it, even though I said it was good, one of the bad things, Arnold's returning. The bad thing about this franchise, it's so hung up on Arnold. Like, it depends too much on Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, they should have somehow broken free of that shackle years ago with these movies, getting away from having to bring Arnold Schwarzenegger back to get people in the theaters. Because now it's to the point where Arnold, they got to make up they always got to come up with some plot device or some excuse in the story of why he's old, why he looks old. Now they're just doing the same thing as Genesis. He was a Terminator, went back in time, and then he just stayed in the past. And now his just the outer flesh that's around the exoskeleton aged, like they did with Terminator Genesis. So I think that's actually a good and bad thing. It's good because you get to see Arnold, but it's bad from a storytelling point of view. It gets lame. So those are some of the things I think the movie has going. Those are some of what I expect of the movie. Those are my expectations of this movie. Now, I haven't really decided yet if I'm going to go see this in the movie theater or not. I don't know. I might go see it. But I might actually end up liking it more than I think because my expectations are really low. But there will never be another Terminator 2. That'll never happen again for the Terminator franchise. So just everything I've read about, now that I read that about James Cameron, and the other thing, I don't think James Cameron really cares about Terminator anymore. He seems like he's just into his Avatar movies. That's all he's into. And I'd rather see one of his new Avatar movies than another, Terminator film. So I don't know, but what do you guys think? What are your expectations of this movie? So let me know. So that's everything I got to say in this video. Let me know what you think in the comments section, and I will see you at the next one. Thank you to all of my subscribers, and thank you for watching this video. And if you're new to the channel, like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to hit the bell icon for notification when new videos are uploaded.